What I love about morality and exploring that is it's just a part of the human condition. That's why it's so widely explored in art. One of the examples I could come up with, A Clockwork Orange. Here we have Alex over here. He is a character who makes very questionable choices in his behaviour. His whole personality is being violent to people for the sake of it. He eventually wants to be good, so it poses the question, is he good or bad by choice, or is it just within our nature? There's no final answer or truth we'll ever get when it comes to morality because it has a subjective nature, because it changes with time. It's different across cultures. That's a branch of social psychology. I currently study a Bachelor of Psychology at the moment. In relation to AI, from a cognitive perspective, we often talk about the brain the same way we talk about machinery. AI machines compared to the human brain, usually an input, processing, and output. The brain. Usually an input is a stimulus. When we see something, when we feel something, we then process that. That's when we make our judgment. Our judgment usually has biases. And then we have an output, so that's the response. And the same goes for ChatGPT. We put the input in, so we ask it a question. It then processes by integrating the data with our question and responding. That's the output. Both the brain and machinery, AI, they have biases. AI has biases, bases its output on program data. So it is given data by humans who are biased. With the brain, we have biases for different reasons, and it's because we have cognitions. Cognitions could be relevant to how we're feeling, so emotion, our memories, how we learn, decision making. Anything to do with cognitions or the brain, there's biases within that. It's very subjective. Thinking about moral psychology and artificial intelligence combined, the moral psychology of AI. Moral psychology of AI went into something called moral agency. Why do we perceive this person, this figure, as a moral agent? The reason why we consider a president a moral agent is because a moral agent is responsible for a moral event. So that's an event that elicits emotion, impacts a perceived moral patient. So the moral patient is anyone who is suffering in a particular event. With Donald Trump, when they decide or do something, we attribute responsibility. It either makes us feel like, oh, that was a good decision, or no, that was bad. We want to punish or reward the said agent. Mind perception, a very important part of morality. It's not about whether they actually have a mind. It's not about whether they actually have morals. More about, do we perceive this person as responsible? Perception is what influences our behaviour towards these figures, not actually the objective side of things. The whole idea of a moral being is someone is responsible. They could be responsible for violating other moral beings. So when we talk about AI being a moral being, we're starting to think about, is AI autonomous, responsible for the decisions or outputs? Can an AI suffer? Will people perceive AI to suffer in future? One of these factors is anthropomorphism or human likeness. This is a predictor of whether we perceive it to have a mind, and it even predicts whether we attribute morality. Generally, we perceive human moral agency above AI moral agency, so we still somewhat attribute AI a bit of moral agency. Most of all, we still perceive humans more to be a moral being than an AI. So with mind perception, what is a mind? What is our understanding of a mind? And if there is objective biological evidence, sometimes we can just deny that anyway. Usually sometimes this can be to justify a moral event. There's no evidence to suggest whether or not AI has a mind. It means we're still very capable of perceiving AI, of having ownership of a mind, and therefore we're very much on track to attributing moral agency. The idea of AI becoming president is not that crazy. Our Lily says, while the concept of granting absolute power to a higher being such as an AI dictator may seem irrational to humans right now, throughout history, humans have demonstrated a strong inclination to entrust their lives to a higher authority. I mean, if we look at history, we can even think about World War II. World War II has been catalyst for inspiring a lot of psych experiments, especially social psych experiments, because it was such a situation where people are like, well, how does this happen? The main factor in that has been things like authority. It would be very interesting to put something like AI in a position of authority, because authority would also increase moral agency, because the whole idea of authority is they have this responsibility. But if someone's in a position of authority, if I don't do the right thing, maybe I'll be punished. The article started off with things it can benefit human rights, help us with the economy, make calculations with huge amounts of data and quickly analyse what do we need to do to improve inflation. evaluate what's needed in our education system. What do we need to do for the environment in the future? It can just integrate so much large amount of data. It can make decisions for us by saving us so much time. It's also incapable of lying as of right now. But in future, we do need to keep in mind this might change. Now, unfortunately, humans don't always want to do things for the greater good. We cannot guarantee a brilliant outcome. When it comes to sacrifice, moral agency for AI actually becomes greater than human agency. This is because humans, we understand they have emotion and experience. Also, when humans are moral patients in the context of an AI being a moral agent, so human moral patience increases. For example, a malfunction happens when a human dies at the cost of a smart car accident. AI, if it does become part of government systems, this could be used for propaganda to push agendas. AI will never be better than the human who programmed it. We might need to consider the person programming, whoever's put that in, are they the real moral agent rather than the AI? How will morality attribution or moral attribution will it influence our AI usage in the future? To consider it's rapidly advancing. What are the implications? How should we prepare for this? Does this mean if we view AIs as a moral being, does this mean we're going to have to give rights and responsibilities to AI, be set in the legal system? These are my references that I used. These are the articles I looked at, and thank you for watching.